The following program is the work of the broadcast students at the British Columbia Institute of Technology. BCIT Magazine features news stories from around the Lower Mainland which were produced over the last week. Responsibility for the content of the show rests completely with the students and their instructors.
Coming up on BCIT Magazine, why a major sexual health organization may be closing most of its clinics.
Also, how Tsawwassen residents are responding to a proposed development.
And an SFU basketball player shoots for the stars and chases a dream. Hello and welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Lisa Cofton.
And I'm Alessio Cusano. We are here at Van Nuysen Gardens in Vancouver with our top stories. A major non-profit organization that operates sexual health clinics across British Columbia is warning of sweeping closures. As Sophie Hansen reports, rising healthcare costs and inflation have made it impossible for the clinics to operate without financial assistance.
We've got various supplies here for STI testing.
Sexual and reproductive services like this may be more difficult to access in the near future. An open letter released by Options highlights potential clinic closures, citing insufficient funding.
This comes on the back of 12 years of no substantive increases and constant uncertainty within Options about whether or not we will be able to continue to offer services. Once we wrote to the minister, we knew that there was going to be word getting out.
These 30 clinic locations support more than 14,000 patients each year, providing services like STI testing and treatment, cervical screening, and birth control. Options is hoping for $800,000 in emergency bridge funding from the government.
We did have a meeting with the minister last week, which is where we thought we may have received some updates. At this time, she's committed her support to us, but was unable to give us any information about funding and whether a decision was going to be made.
After hearing of the potential closures, advocates jumped to echo the importance of these services.
I wouldn't have all of this information that I now know, and I wouldn't know my body as well if it weren't for clinics like Options. There's not enough of them out there. It's not taught enough in schools, and more people need to be able to have access to locations like these.
For Melius, the support has been bittersweet.
It's actually been overwhelming and heartwarming and heartbreaking to read the stories, because we knew and know that we play a crucial part of the landscape in BC.
The deadline for funding is January 31st, but until then, they will continue to provide services as usual. Sophie Hansen in Vancouver for BCIT News.
The city of Delta is undergoing change. With the Delta 72 plan, it aims to make housing more affordable by developing urban areas. As reporter Emily Deneen found out, the changes are raising concerns in the small community.
Sylvia Bishop, a former Delta City Council member, has lived in Tsawwassen since 1966, and she's worried about a new proposed development.
No, I don't think that the Tsawwassen Town Centre Mall is appropriate for a 24-story building. I think that will totally change the character of Tsawwassen, which prides itself at being so close.
The Delta City Council is planning a big change of the Tsawwassen Town Centre. The single-story mall would become 4 24-story high-rises and 5 6-story buildings. Christine Cummings, a Delta resident, says these changes would negatively impact her.
I will be staring at a 24-story tower literally out my backyard, and I will be dealing with traffic congestion from the moment that the shovel hits the ground.
But city councillors say they are nowhere near breaking the ground.
It hasn't come to council yet, so it's a little bit premature to say what impact it's going to have or not going to have, because we haven't we haven't approved anything as of yet.
Cummings isn't convinced this is for the best.
I think this development is suited for an area that already has public transit, an area where close proximity to a SkyTrain station or a bus facility, a loop, is much more suited.
And Bishop isn't either.
It's going to change the character, and I'm not sure it's going to be for the better.
Both Bishop and Cummings are encouraging the public to write letters to Mayor Harvey to stop this change. Emily Deneen in Tsawwassen for BCIT News.
A student athlete is looking to rewrite the history books. Our reporter Spencer Pomeroy talks with an SFU basketball player who has taken her game to the next level.
Sophia Wizotsky, whose teammates and coaches call the Wiz, has had a magical season so far.
Sophia, oh, poetry in motion from Sophia Wizotsky.
Last year, she kind of got on a run where she was just penetrating and hitting runners over the front rim time and time again. Her runner was just improved to the point where, like, we're talking a big league runner, not your typical university player runner.
Wizotsky is averaging 23.5 points per game this season. The school's single-season record is 24.6, held by Michelle Hendry in 1990.
It's like another goal that I can strive to reach, I guess, so it could motivate me to play harder and better to reach one of my goals.
Wizotsky said her older sister Jessica played a huge role in her basketball career.
A lot of argument there. Wizotsky did a great job. Oh, look at this underneath to Jessica, the reverse lay-in underneath the basket. That's sister-to-sister DNA.
Being competitive with her throughout my entire life and at SFU, she's my go-to shooting partner.
Head coach Bruce Langford said he's enjoyed Wizotsky's growth over the years.
She's really kind of a unique talent, though. She's an unbelievable driver, and you don't see that many NBA players or women's professional players who are able to drive that much and be able to get shots off in the key, which she's able to do.
Wizotsky says she's considering medical school while keeping her options open. With the scoring record in sight, Wizotsky wants to be remembered as a hard worker who leaves it all out on the court. Spencer Pomeroy in Burnaby for BCIT News.
BC Green Party leader Sonia Furstenau is stepping down. This announcement comes after the party lost its seat in provincial legislature during the October election. Furstenau expressed her gratitude and her accomplishments in a press conference on Tuesday afternoon. Furstenau says that she is confident that the two Green Party MLAs will hold the government to their word.
After the break, find out how a North Delta family turned one house into 4.
And how a non-profit is making a comeback after significant delays.
Everything is changing to digital. Everything is online. People aren't just waiting for the 6 o'clock news anymore. People want their news right now. They want to be able to go onto their smartphone, onto the internet, and see the news that they want to see.
Vancouver is growing at a really rapid rate, the Lower Mainland even, and with the tools that we're given here, we're able to cover all of that.
Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Radhika Sikakane.
In the program, they really leave it up to you. I mean, the help is there when you need it, figuring out how to use the programs like Premiere, Audition, and figuring out how to use the cameras. But it's up to you to sort of experiment and figure out what you can do when you go out in the field.
They brought candles and flowers to remember the student who lost her life yesterday.
Teresa May says the international community condemns Moscow.
They really make sure that you know the basics and you are able to put out a quality product.
I'm Brady Tretnero.
And I'm Radhika Sikakane. Thank you for tuning in to BCIT Magazine.
Welcome back! Today marks Lunar New Year. 2025 is the year of the snake. The snake is the 6th animal in the zodiac cycle and is a symbol of wisdom, intuition, and transformation. The celebration will go on for 15 days, ending with a lantern festival on the 12th of February.
A Delta family has found a creative way to build more homes on their property. As Lauren Nachilli reports, the concept could help revolutionize the housing market so that young adults can afford a home close to home.
also realized that with our 3 youngest children, they didn't have a chance of owning anything on the ground unless we did something.
What Kathleen Higgins and her husband did was tear down their house of over 30 years and build 4 new homes for their children.
You've given them something where they have the more power to move someplace else and maybe live on the ground. But for us, we're very happy to be living close together.
The lot has 4 houses, with 2 of their sons each owning a unit and their 94-year-old grandmother in the other.
Like, this is your place, right? So that's good. Well,
She says her house, despite the size difference, is perfect for her and her husband to do their regular household activities. The thought of owning a home seemed out of reach for their son Patrick, but it was finally in his grasp.
Never had it on my radar that it would even be possible for me. Just because of the hopelessness of owning a home is a very common saying around this town anyways. So Gabriel, one of my nephews, I've witnessed him ride his bike for the first time. Literally, I'm looking out the window, I'm like, oh, and he's riding his bike.
The City of Delta unanimously approved the proposal. City Councillor David Kruger said neighborhoods are meant to adapt.
We can't put neighborhoods into time capsules. We have to allow for reasonable, gradual change over the decades as the needs of the communities change.
We've basically given them the best start we could with the little bit that we had to begin with.
4 generations in 4 homes on 1 lot. Lorna Chili in North Delta for BCIT News.
While the family in Delta has found a way to make it work, the reality is that housing options are limited for young people. My co-host Alessio Cusano explores how new tenant is dealing with his situation and how other young adults are trying to find housing for themselves.
Marvin Morn recently moved into an apartment at Lynn Creek Apartments alongside his sister. As it is his first time moving into a new place, Morin has many goals set out for himself.
I really wanted my independence. I am 20 years old and I just want to be more out there in the world and just take orders for myself and be really, really engaged with getting my own schedule and doing it myself and not relying on my parents.
With limited options due to the crisis, Morin explains the process he went through to move in and how quickly he had to decide.
For me, it took about a month of planning and to organize a meeting with a realtor, and he showed me around the place, and I had a day of like thinking if I wanted the place or not, so I thought that I would go for it.
Although rent is shared, Morin still has to find ways to save up.
You have to be really good with budgeting, and for me, I'm always trying to work my hardest, going to work about 5 to 6 times a week, just working about full time almost, and just like putting all my efforts into that.
Young adults who qualify can find affordable rent through social housing. However, finding them isn't so easy. Premier David Eby recently discussed the ongoing pushback of social housing in a Kitsilano community and how all neighborhoods can get involved.
Ensure that every neighborhood and every community does its part in terms of responding to the housing crisis. We're trying to build housing for people. Everybody in British Columbia knows there's a housing crisis.
Eby added that due to delays, building will now be way more expensive. Although the situation can be tough at times for him, Morin still tries to make the most of what's around him.
Definitely the transport system. It's the most convenient thing here because there's not much parking spots around here, and it's just very, very busy. They've got the bridge right there, and there's always traffic.
Morin uses Fibs Exchange every day to commute, as it cuts costs, helping him save more for rent. Alessio Cusano in North Vancouver for BCIT News.
A downtown Eastside charity is making progress towards a major milestone after facing a significant setback last summer. Reporter Sia Foyo has more on their journey back.
I was just worried about the kids. Like, where are they going to go? What are they going to do?
This was the concern of many staff members when they recall what happened just weeks before the school year programs were set to begin at Promise Vancouver. The charity was forced out of this location last summer after a fire in the SRO above caused severe water damage to their building.
So the building that we're in now is the Ukrainian Hall, and it's been a big adjustment.
It's a very different space than what we're used to here, but the kids are so adaptable, the young leaders are adaptable, we're making do. We've adapted our programs to that.
Although the children remain at this temporary location, some have begun referring to the reopening as New Promise. Staff say the nickname highlights the transition as they prepare to welcome new participants and resume programs in their original space.
I grew up in the community. I went to Raycam Daycare, and my mom works real close to here. It's a really good support system for them in the community, and I'm glad they got the programs back and running.
While the road to recovery hasn't been easy, the team behind this community program says it became an opportunity to rebuild stronger and create new memories in their original space.
I'm really excited for all the kids to see it, and we're going to be settling into our home.
Sia Forio in Vancouver for BCIT News.
Passion and Performance Dance Studio is offering dance classes by donation to encourage people to consider stepping out. Our reporter Vivek Nakra spoke with participants about why they're hitting the dance floor.
Vancouver-based dance studio offers dance classes by donation after every 6 weeks.
Right now we are in our donation days, which is how we start every session, where anybody and anyone can come and try our classes for a simple donation to the Downtown East Side, the Wish Drop-In Center, or to Community, which is a queer supporting counseling nonprofit.
The donation days welcome people who are not able to dance and encourages them to rejoin or start dancing again. They offer a wide range of dance classes that help people to choose from and help them live their dreams back.
People to be able to try different classes that they've never tried before. It gives the flexibility of, trying different things and having low pressure to commit.
These donation days will run until January 12th. Vivek Nakra in Vancouver for BCIT News.
BCIT students are back to school after a month of winter break. My co-host Lisa Cofton found out what to expect this term on campus and how students feel about the new chapter start.
BCIT's Burnaby campus is once again crowded. Students are reunited with peers, instructors, and studying. Some are enjoying time with friends after a break, while others are preparing for classes.
This semester is very important for me as a graduate. This is my final year in marketing management course journey. I'm currently studying sales, and also this term we continue to go deep inside the knowledge of it. We learn real life examples, and I can't wait to start my first internship.
The Student Life Association starts the year with an opening event and announces more for the upcoming term. Students are able to attend many orientation events such as the Bunnies Cafe.
You're invited to our Kickstart Pop-Up Bunny Cafe happening January 8th, 12 to 3 in SW1 at the Burnaby campus. Enjoy things like meeting cute bunnies, fun games, and many more.
For each term, the Student Life Association helps new students get oriented on their first day on campus. For some, this is the last term here before graduation. Lisa Cofton in Burnaby for BCIT News. Coming up after the break, learn how to become one with nature with community calendar host Lauren Achille.
How a Vancouver-based dancer is pushing the boundaries of dance and technology.
That's the one.
You're listening to BCIT's The Crow. Thanks for joining us. Have a good night.
And these are your stories for 11 a.m. I'm Hugh Perkich, and you're listening to BCIT's The Crow. tuning in to the Andy Shire Show here on AM 1680 The Crow.
BC officials just released a new COVID-19 update.
The Canucks' playoff hopes continue to dwindle as they lost to the Toronto Maple Leafs 4-1 yesterday.
And you're listening to BCIT's The Crow.
Hi, I'm Lorna Chili. Let's be one with nature. Oh, look at these ducks. Look at these ducks. Oh, wow. They're just foraging like crazy. Wow, it's so majestic to see ducks like that every day. I mean, if you want to see more birds like this and ducks, go to Ducks, Ducks and More Ducks. It's being held in Langley on February 9th to learn about migration and to possibly feed the ducks at the lagoon. I mean, what I'd give to be fed at the lagoon. Isn't nature just neat? Ever wonder if you're barking up the wrong tree? Join What's That Tree in Stanley Park. And hey, if it's dry, you may get a chance to do some bark rub print. Don't tell me with a good time. That's nature. Look at that, it's running! It ran! It ran! And to think only Jesus walked on water. Anywho, so I found this one single voluptuous red berry, and if you're looking to survive weeks and weeks in the wilderness, I suggest you go on March 15th to the North Vancouver Foraging Workshop. There's going to be a foraging instructor who's going to tell you how to harvest and prepare wild berries. I mean, looky here, this is enough to feed a whole village. Try to build a fire using nature's gifts, wood and my bare hands. You just rub them together. Should create some friction. Let's build a shelter. Big sticks. It's like God has given me the sticks, the tools to survive. It's getting cold and it's getting dark. So I built this shelter. It should protect me from the rain for the night. On March 21st and March 22nd, Metro Vancouver Regional Park Program is holding a night quest, and that you can walk through the magical forest and maybe run into some cute creatures, but I think it's time to get some shut-eye. Thanks for tuning in, folks, to Being One with Nature. See you in the morning.
We're here at the famous Van Dusen Gardens in Vancouver, where BCIT Magazine continues. Lorna Chili is here to tell us more about why Van Dusen is a popular destination for locals and visitors. So Lauren, tell us why Van Dusen Garden is a must-see location here in Vancouver.
Thanks, Alessio. So our show is located on the Van Dusen Botanical Garden. This land has over 7,500 plant species from across the globe. Some of the must-sees include the Stone Garden, the Scottish Shelter, and the Elizabeth Maze. Alessio?
Lauren, what plants will be blooming this month?
So despite the chilly weather, visitors can expect some blooming this month. Plants are including the witch hazel, the silk tassel bush, and the winter flowering jasmine. Back to you.
Thanks, Lauren. The Vancouver Mural Festival has closed down after almost a decade of festivities. The nonprofit formed as a grassroots summer festival that later evolved into a year-round art and production agency. In an Instagram post, the organizers explained the closures come after years of financial struggles.
A dancer of Taiwanese heritage is performing at this year's Push Festival. His work draws from his personal journey, blending storytelling and movement. Our reporter Sia Foyo sat down with the dancer to discuss his upcoming performance and the significance of this work.
Thank you, Lisa. Today we have Sammy Chin with us. How are you doing, Sammy?
Like, if I were to lie, they say, great.
Please don't lie. Please don't lie.
It's a polite Canadian culture. It's like we just say, how are you? I say hello, but I don't want to know how you actually do it.
Right? I just want you to say good and then that's it, right?
But I know you care.
Tell us more about what the rehearsal is like today of just that movement through the space.
And there's going to be a bench, 3 benches. They are vibrational bench that we're creating. So we made it for the deaf audience, actually, and hard of hearing audience. So then you can feel the sound through your body, not with your ear, not through the hearing anymore.
You were saying that it's also honoring somebody.
Yes.
Can you speak more on that, please?
Yes. Yes, the honoring part is the spiritual teacher I was talking about, the Buddhist teacher. He recently passed away. He's the person who gave us a lot of validation on our journey. Carol and I, that hardship that was so challenging in that beginning, you know.
Earlier we were talking about are you doing a connection with Indigenous?
Yes.
Yes.
So,
can you speak on that?
Yes, it's an old friend of mine. Her name is Tsawwassen. She's First Nation, Cree. We've been working together more than 10 years now. So she always, before any process, she always lead a circle and a small ritual together with singing and prayers. And I always felt that was it really connects to my culture because we do ritual as well.
Every month, the Vancouver Public Library hosts a writer showcase to spotlight emerging local talent. Reporter Grace Chen elaborates on why the event is being recognized by its participants for its power in fostering a community.
Yeah, you can come on and get settled.
Happy New Year.
They are warming up for the Writers' Showcase at the Vancouver Public Library. Tonight, 4 established writers are featured and are reciting their pieces inside the Montalbano Family Theatre. Soon, these empty seats will be packed with guests.
It is so important for our city, Vancouver, to have spaces for community to come together and to share their work. It's always, I've been running this program for 3 years now, and it's always amazing to me that there's a common thread that draws each of these performers and writers together.
Performer Thomas Gerard has felt the impact of the program personally. He is an award-winning writer, scholar, and TEDx speaker who is using his platform to inspire audiences worldwide.
The design isn't about saving lives.
It's a really magical environment. I mean, I would assume that there are a lot of people who would jump at the chance to have a venue like this to speak in and to read their writing in. Just having a platform like this in the community of listeners is great on its own. The fact that it's here is extra. When I was a young person, I was very much about seeking the truth and conveying the truth and communicating the truth. Truth can be a powerful story.
Something worse than Tim Hortons. It's called Coffee Time.
I've been writing for a long time, but humor, yeah, and always, I guess, inclined to humor.
Han credits the Vancouver Public Library for continuing to make no barrier of access events as well as creative spaces for the public.
I'm so amazed by the programs here, like all available to everyone, you know, free of cost. The level of assistance I get when I come here, like I've been using the Inspiration Lab to make recordings, and the service level is impeccable.
The library says it strives to maintain accessible, barrier-free events so more people can share their written work and meet like-minded folks. The next writers' showcases will happen in February, featuring more emerging and established writers. Grace Chen in Burnaby for BCIT News.
During the months of January, a relatively quiet time of the year, so-called sound baths offers a sense of community and renewal. Reporter Gina Tang found out how sound frequency plays a role in achieving a meditative state, as she dives into the science and practice behind sound healing.
January 13th marks the first full moon of 2025. To celebrate, people engaged in sound bath rituals.
I use specific instruments like the ocean drum and the water element koshi chime tonight, and a lot of the F notes in the F chakra tuned for the heart chakra, the F note for the heart chakra, because that gives us a sense of community. It also heals our heart.
Holistic health and wellness practitioner Christina Michaels says the benefit of sound lies in our anatomy. Our bodies are more than 70% water, our brains more than 65%, allowing sound vibration frequencies to travel most efficiently.
Our sound travels and frequencies and vibrations travel through our brain. When we get into a meditative state through changing the frequency that our brains normally are attuned to, we are able to get into deeper states of meditation.
Space and Sound Studio was founded by Katerina Murnakina, who noticed how many of her peers struggled to quiet their minds.
It's something that brings you to stillness, to actually invites you into yourself.
Practitioners claim these rituals are effective in reducing stress, lowering blood pressure, and anxiety. Participants experience sound healing with bowls placed on the body.
Instruments speak to me and they want me to stay around somebody or play something a different way. And
Gina Tang in Kitsilano for BCIT Magazine.
If you have any questions regarding the show, you can contact us at bcitnews.com or bcit-broadcast.com.
A huge thank you to Van Dusen Gardens and the City of Vancouver for sharing their space with us.
And thank you for tuning into another episode of BCIT Magazine.
I'm Lisa Cofton.
And I'm Alessio Cusano. We'll see you next time.